Leadership is a role that we find extremely important when it comes to achieving tasks, achieving and creating magnificent goals, aspirations, projects, right? What I want you to understand, though, is that to be a leader means that you are ultimately taking full accountability for the moment, for the situation, and for the task at hand, for the purpose. And that in order for you to understand leadership, you must change from a spiritual perspective. You must change how you understand and view what it means to be a leader, because being a leader is something that isn't just for a single type of individual. It isn't for somebody who is special. It isn't for somebody who has these amazing skills to inspire and motivate people to do great tasks and great things. To be a leader really means to take ownership of yourself, to take ownership of your path, to take ownership of your purpose. And so what I'm talking about, though, is being a spiritual leader. Now, again, I'm not talking about leading other people, though that can be part of the journey. Initially, what I'm talking about is taking leadership over your journey, leadership over your life, leadership over your reality, your universe, your surroundings. Now, when we think about leadership, once again, we think about people having amazing abilities to lead others, right? To inspire others, to motivate, to manage, to supervise other people. But in true essence of spirituality, metaphysics, metaphysical sciences, manifestation, it's really about taking ownership of understanding your purpose and taking ownership and understanding who you are. And that journey means that you are going on this path and you are collecting skill sets. You are collecting understandings and self-awareness as to who you are. Because when we compare the traditional understanding of the traditional meaning of a leader versus the spiritual understanding of a leader, there really isn't much different. The difference is, though, is that when we think of traditional leadership and that hierarchy, we're thinking in terms of people and individuals, and that there is one person who is the leader who collectively maybe assembling and getting insight from other people from the community, but then being the one who makes the final decision as to what to do, right? When to take action, how you're going to take action. But when we come to spiritual leadership, which is a individual journey, which is a solo task, right? We're talking about the leadership of you upon yourself. We then think about not just one aspect of yourself, but the many aspects of who you are. When we're talking about leadership, we're talking about taking the role of leading all layers of who you are toward a particular journey to achieve a particular project, to make something happen. So what are those layers? What is the hierarchy within oneself? You have consciousness, you have ego, you have the subconscious, you have the conscious mind, right? You have the unconscious mind as well. Now, even those layers can be broken down into many other layers. Just like any other traditional hierarchy, they're going to be the one who makes the final decision, but then there are people, quote unquote, beneath them, right, who answers to that one person. And that one person tells them, these are the tasks we need to get done. And then they decide on how to spread out, right, the tasks and the things that needs to get done in order to achieve that goal. So as we really use this idea of what it means to be a leader in the traditional sense, we're going to apply that in the spiritual sense and to taking your own sense of leadership when it comes to you achieving a purpose, achieving fulfillment, right? Achieving self-realization, achieving the things that you find are necessary for you to actually feel a sense of peace, happiness, right? Purpose and drive in this life, understanding as to why you are here. Very important, very imperative. So leadership means you are now taking the front seat, right? You're taking ownership over all these aspects of who you are. You're not looking at them in terms of a hierarchy, meaning that one is above the other, but recognizing that each aspect of yourself is very important and necessary, right? Sometimes when we talk about the ego, we think that this part of ourselves isn't, we need to kill it. We need to demolish it. We need to get rid of it. When in fact, the ego is very important in the aspects of who we are, in the development, in the growth, in the lessons that this life is meant to teach and help you to reveal and understand about yourself. So this isn't about saying that this part is more important than the other. This part is more, you know, is what's necessary, and this part is not necessary. All aspects of who you are is necessary. Even your shadow self is necessary. We talk about things like shadow work. And even with the terminology, we assume that the shadow is a negative aspect of who you are, that it is bad or evil, when in fact, the shadow is necessary. Just like in nature, a shadow is just a projection of something that has been put light upon, right? When you put light upon something, when you expose it, then it casts a shadow behind it. That's just natural in nature, in the universe. And so the shadow self is also a natural part of who you are. So as we start to break down this journey and getting deeper into this course of spiritual leadership, you must understand the similarities between traditional hierarchy and leadership and spiritual leadership, and using that to compare and relate, right, toward understanding, okay, how you lead this group of characteristics, this group of aspects of who you are toward achieving a particular goal. So you must understand that spiritual leadership is really a conscious act of creation, because you are a creator. So this journey is about you creating, right? What is it that you create is up to you. Ultimately, what I say is you are creating the unfoldment. You are creating the understanding that you are a creator, the reality that you are a individualized expression of that which we call God, of the universe, of this divine intellect, what I call grand consciousness. Okay. And you are creating that understanding by creating things like, your dream home, right? Financial success and abundance, your most beautiful and amazing relationship, an amazing family, right? An amazing environment, an amazing lifestyle. Whatever those things look like to you, it can be something grand and big. It can be something that is in the moment, minute and small. But ultimately, it leads to the same thing, your fulfillment. And it is because you have achieved it, you're fulfilled, you recognize that there is a connection between you getting something done, you creating something, materializing something, manifesting something, and your fulfillment. You see, that is because it is your nature to create. And so when we get into deeper into leadership, you must understand that recognizing when you are aligning all of these aspects of who you are and focusing those aspects toward a singular goal, objective, purpose, you are essentially practicing, right, your ability to manifest, but it is tapping into this understanding that leadership is a connection or an extension of your divine essence. You see, so leadership is really assembling this group, this aspect of who you are, focusing those things toward a particular objective or goal. And you doing that allows you to really understand your divine essence as a creator. But if you are wanting to obtain something, achieve a goal, materialize something, connect with someone, whatever the goal is, whatever the desire is, and you are not acknowledging these different aspects of who you are, this quote unquote hierarchy, this collective, then you are going to find that there's going to be a lot of struggles, a lot of suffering, because all of you is not involved. If you are just only focusing on creating something from a conscious level, which is about 10% of the brain capacity that you use, then you are failing to use the majority of what you have access to. You see, because 90% of everything that we have access to and we use is really in our subconscious mind. So if you're not utilizing your subconscious mind, then you are failing to take advantage of what's available to you, which means it's going to slow down. It's going to, you know, really allow you to really experience a delay, a strong delay, hard times, is going to retard your whole experience. It's going to really slow you down. It's going to be heavy. You're going to be in conflict with yourself constantly because you know something, right? From a conscious level, you know something is, right, making sense, right? Okay, if I do this, this will happen. You know the understandings of cause and effect. But if you're not incorporating subconscious programming, if you're not incorporating, even looking into your unconscious patterns and belief systems, then guess what? Even though right, if you go and you manage your diet, you're going to lose weight. You know that if you are more active, you're going to build strength and muscle. You know that if you are intimate, you know that if you're vulnerable, you're going to build a deeper connection with your partner. But though you know that consciously, subconsciously, you may have been given programs that associates vulnerability with weakness, that associates going to take a walk or working out with pain, right? With the idea that eating healthy, the limiting belief that eating healthy is expensive and it doesn't taste good. You see, all of those are belief systems that are not based in reality or truth. It was something that was given to you, handed down to you, or something you chose to believe at a particular time in your life where you did not have the education or wisdom to know better. And so as you get into leadership, spiritual leadership, and you are taking ownership of yourself, you recognize that once you take ownership of yourself and you are on this path of connecting the dots, creating the things that you desire, then you begin to spread that out. So when you become a leader of yourself, then you are able to lead others, not by simply telling them what to do, but more importantly, by being an example of what to do. This is what leadership is truly about. Leadership is truly about, even on the traditional sense of leadership as we know it. A true leader, from a traditional standpoint, a good leader is one who masters spiritual leadership and leads themselves. So if you identify yourself as a leader, if you're in a collective and you're in a group and you say to yourself, okay, this is the idea I have. Let's all listen to what I have to say, right? Because we find that a lot of people feel that they are leaders, especially when in a group. And most people assume that not everybody can be a leader. But we find that when we look and we observe the world and we look and we observe ourselves, we can own the fact that we have leadership attributes, qualities, leadership urges. That is because those urges, though they may not be something that can be applicable when it comes to outside individuals and people, that leadership quality and those urges are truly meant to be directed within first. When you are feeling the urge to do something, or even like move something or create something, or, just go on a journey, Understand that the physical expression or desire to do something, oftentimes it is simply a symptom of what needs to happen within first. You must create a reality within yourself first for it to actually manifest physically in the outside world. It only starts here first. It doesn't start outside and then inward. So you cannot claim to be a leader of people if you are not a leader of yourself. So you must lead the aspects of who you are toward creating results, moving in a particular way, being disciplined. And then are you equipped to know how to lead other individuals? Now, it's important to recognize that there is a connection and there are some similarities. But this is really more about being a leader of yourself and recognizing that when you lead yourself, leading other people is actually the easiest part. Leading yourself is a difficult thing because you cannot avoid aspects of who you are in order to become good at being a leader. You have to be somebody who truly is connected with your strengths and your weaknesses in order for you to understand, okay, if I am to get this done, then there is a certain approach that I must take. Just like if you were leading people, in order for you to get something done, you have to be able to identify people's strengths, people's weaknesses, people's potential, right? You have to be able to identify individuals in their entirety, like who they are, their family structure, their personal situation, because that'll give you the insight as to what's going to motivate them. So taking that inward, you have to look within and see all aspects of yourself, consciousness, ego, the conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind. Get into what motivates them. What gets those things going? What inspires them? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? Make sure that you have a proper ratio of addressing all of those things and their motivations toward a particular direction, which is the thing that you desire. So this can definitely relate to manifestation, but we're ultimately talking about a sense of fulfillment without any outside things, without any outside influences. Just an ultimate spiritual bliss simply by taking and owning yourself. And when you take ownership of yourself and you embody, right, true authenticity, right? Because to be authentic, you must be able to identify and have a level of self-awareness of all aspects of who you are. Even if it's just like inquiry and wonder, you don't have to have it all perfect and laid out, but you at least have to acknowledge them. Okay. You acknowledge those aspects of you and then you listen. Okay. You're not driven by them. You're not led by them. They're not in control of you, but you must be in observation of them. You must pay attention to them, just like you would in a group of people, right? A true leader is one who observes, pays attention, listens when they have recommendations, coming from their expertise, coming from their experience. So you should be looking at those aspects of who you are from a place of acknowledging that they have points of view, expertise, and then taking that and collecting all of that insight, that data toward, okay, what is it that I wish to create? What am I looking to experience at this moment? If it's just something like simple happiness at the moment, you can do that. If it is to achieve a great task or challenge, you can do that. But you must be at a place where you recognize all of those aspects of who you are. And if not, if you don't recognize all those aspects of who you are as you are going on the journey, like as you are in the process of creating something, at some point it's going to show up anyway. And for many people, what happens is it stops them if they're not prepared to face it, to deal with it. Just like any, physical challenge. If you go on a marathon and you haven't ran one before and you haven't trained properly, then you're not prepared or you're not ready yet to actually experience the harsh reality of it, right? The struggle, the pain, the mental strain, right? That it may put on your mind. And if you're not ready for it, then it can stop you in your tracks. If you're not meant to or have taught yourself that you can push through moment to moment, step by step, then you are just not prepared with the adequate tools to keep moving forward, to get you to the final point, right? To get you across that finish line. So it's important to pay attention. And even if you say at that point, you know what, I quit. I can't do this. It doesn't mean that you failed per se. Because if you are willing to give it a go next time, now you have more wisdom and insight. Now, the aspects of who you are that caused you to stop, whether it be your subconscious or even your unconscious that said, okay, we cannot do this anymore because you wasn't prepared, right? Now you can say, okay, now I know that's going to come up next time. So the next time I do it, I won't be so thrown off. So ultimately, what we're talking about here is recognizing that the journey of spiritual fulfillment, happiness, manifestation comes into play when you really think about yourself as a leader and you are collecting all of these aspects of who you are and you are making sure that you're paying attention to these aspects in order for you to lead all of you toward a particular result, which is ultimately your purpose. And so as you go through this, it is going to help you also to explore the role of consciousness and connecting the dots between you, the outside world, the universe, other people, your relationships, and is going to help you to recognize, okay, if you are able to lead yourself and identify all aspects of who you are, then that makes you ultimately unstoppable and able to lead not only yourself, creating that which you desire, but help lead others in creating the thing you collectively decide to create, or even inspire other people to create the things that they want as well. So take ownership. Be a leader. You are a leader. You may not be a leader of other people, but you are most certainly a leader to yourself. Thank you so much. Feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my newsletter, and get this free ebook, The Power Within. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.